Number 2 Texas loses to number 5 Georgia in the SEC championship game. This game is going to have huge implications on the college football playoff bracket. But as for right now, let's just talk about my initial reactions of the game. First of all, starting with Texas, a few guys did come up big for Texas, a couple wide receivers, especially Matthew Golden and DeAndre Moore. Isaiah Bond wasn't great in this game. At the end of the game, he did have to leave with that knee injury. At least presumably it's a knee injury. Not too sure what it is exactly. But as for Georgia, they had even bigger injury issues early on in the game, of course, with Carson Beck, their starting quarterback, exiting the game. But Gunnar Stockton came in, the backup quarterback, did pretty well, other else than that one late fourth quarter interception, which Texas wasn't really able to capitalize off of, other else than a field goal. Weren't able to go down and score a touchdown. And that was really the story of the game, man. For Texas, they weren't able to go downfield and score touchdowns. Their offense was moving. Quinn Ewers had 300 yards. Honestly, just not a good game from Quinn Ewers when it came down to it, though. There have been multiple times in his career, and I'm sure everybody else is going to talk about this, so I don't want to beat it down too much. But every time in his career that there's a close game at the end and he has a chance to win, it just feels like it hasn't went his way. Some of that is just the offense's fault, but some of that is most definitely Quinn Ewers' fault. He didn't make many great throws towards the end of the game. Only one or two that you could really point out that was like a normal Quinn Ewers, like great throw. But other than that, it looked like he was forcing the ball into windows that didn't exist. Late on certain throws, through the comeback where he threw the interception late in the fourth quarter. On the inside of his receiver, the commentators were saying, you got to throw that to the outside of your receiver if you even want him to make an effort at getting that completion. But even then, tight one-on-one coverage, I just don't think that's the throw you got to make. Quinn Ewers, he's going into the draft this year. He's still got a few more games left, of course, in the college football playoff to prove himself. But this late into this guy's college career, and he's still not able to get these huge wins for his team down the stretch. It's honestly tough to see because he's so talented. He's a 5-star coming out of high school, obviously. We'll have to see if an offense can use him and develop him in the NFL. But as for Georgia, huge win for them. Just a textbook Georgia win. They made the plays when it mattered most. Of course, towards the end of the game, however, they did have to settle for a couple back-to-back field goals. At that point, I thought it was Texas's game to lose. They could go downfield, get a touchdown, potentially get the win, but Georgia's defense came up big. Taking a look at the stats here, a lot of similarities, but the real difference was the rushing yards. Georgia was able to get the run game going, and Texas simply couldn't. Both teams had 2 huge turnovers, which at those points of the game, it looked like the game would flip to the other team's favor, but they just kept handing the ball back to each other and kicking back-to-back field goals, and really neither team was able to pull through until the overtime. Texas went downfield, only got a field goal. Georgia started at the 25, of course. Drove downfield. The next to last play of the game, Gunnar Stockton took a huge hit to the head and had to miss the final play of the game, where poetically, the actual starting quarterback, Carson Beck, hands the ball off, and Georgia wins the SEC championship on a run play, as Georgia usually does. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. A lot of implications once again. I'll say it again, the college football playoff is going to be impacted a lot by this, especially the bracket. A lot of implications from this game, other else than that though. Quinn Ewers, who knows where he's going to go from here. As for Georgia, we'll have to see the health of Carson Beck for the playoffs, as well as Isaiah Bond for Texas. But that's going to do it for this video. A little different type of video. I usually don't make college football videos ever, but I thought this was a great game, especially towards the end. Came down to the wire, so I thought I would make a video on it. But that is going to do it for this one. If you all enjoyed, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next video.